Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a short, but honestly, an incredibly powerful poem by the Nobel Prize winner Pablo Neruda. It's called Keeping Quiet, and it has this one simple, kind of radical idea that feels more important right now than maybe ever before. I mean, really think about that for a second. No cars, no notifications, no chatter, just quiet. A complete, collective, global pause. Neruda kicks things off with this exact challenge. It's like a thought experiment he's posing to all of us. And there it is, the very first line. It's not really a suggestion, is it? It's more of a direct, simple invitation. It's like Neruda is looking at the entire planet and saying, hey, let's just try this, together. But why? What was the problem he was seeing that made him think silence was the answer? Well, from his perspective, Neruda saw a world that was just caught in this frantic, non-stop cycle. A world of constant motion, of doing things without really thinking, of activity that was often really destructive to ourselves, to each other, and yeah, to the planet itself. Neruda pinpoints the core issue as a very specific kind of sadness. It's the sadness that comes from being so laser-focused on just keeping our lives moving that we never actually stop to figure out who we are. He argues that this constant hustle ends up with us threatening ourselves with death. And he means that both literally through war and conflict, but also metaphorically by just living these unexamined lives. So what's the fix for this deep-seated sadness? It's something so simple. A universal, momentary pause. Neruda's big idea isn't some complex political plan or a fancy new technology. Nope. It's just a moment of stillness. And the magic number at the center of it all? 12. Not 10, not 15. 12. Now, 12 is not some random number he just pulled out of a hat. It's actually kind of genius. It's a universal measure of time, right? It connects to the hours on a clock, the months in a year. These are cycles that basically govern all of our lives, everywhere. By picking 12, Neruda creates this perfect little container for a moment that every single person on Earth can share at the same time. He calls the feeling he's trying to create an exotic moment. Just think about how strange and new and weird that would feel. In that shared silence, all the things that usually divide us, our languages, our borders, the noise of our separate lives, they would just melt away. And we'd be united in what he calls this sudden strangeness. And the effects of this pause would be instant and really profound. The fisherman, who kind of represents how we exploit nature, would stop. The salt gatherer, who represents the harm we do to ourselves through our labor, would finally get a second to notice his own pain. That's what silence does. It creates awareness. This pause even reaches into our absolute worst impulses. Neruda imagines that the people preparing for war, whether it's war against nature, these green wars, or against each other, they would just stop. And in that quiet, they would see their enemies not as targets, but as brothers. And that image of putting on clean clothes, that's such a powerful metaphor. He's obviously not talking about laundry here. It's about a moral cleansing. It's this idea of shedding all the old dirty attitudes of hate and conflict and putting on a fresh new perspective of peace and brotherhood. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. It's easy to hear all this talk about stopping and stillness and think it sounds negative, like laziness or even death. Neruda totally saw that coming, and he makes a really important distinction. He couldn't be more clear. He says he wants no truck with death, which is his way of saying, don't even associate my idea with that. His call for stillness is actually deeply, profoundly pro-life. It's all about making life richer and more meaningful, not about ending it. So let's break that down. He's rejecting mindless stagnation, just sitting around doing nothing. What he's advocating for is quiet introspection, which is a powerful, active process of looking inward. See, it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the really important work of understanding ourselves. That's the only way to get to renewal. So if this pause is for renewal, where do we even learn how to do that? Well, Neruda points us to the greatest teacher we have, the earth itself. He uses this incredible image of the seasons. Just think about winter for a second. The world seems still, empty, maybe even dead. But we know that underneath that quiet surface, life is getting ready. Roots are growing, seeds are waiting, and then spring comes, and everything proves it was alive all along. So the earth becomes this perfect symbol for the whole idea. It's teaching us that these periods of quiet and stillness, they aren't the end. They are a necessary, vital part of the cycle of rebirth and growth. Our own little moment of quiet can be like our own personal winter, getting us ready for a new spring. And this brings us right to the end of the poem, where Neruda kind of turns the spotlight back on us, the reader. He's explained the why, the what, and the how. So now the ball is in our court. When you boil it all down, the poem leaves us with some pretty clear takeaways. It's a call to pause and reflect, to remember that silence can connect us in ways words can't. It's a call to stop harm, and to get that real, lasting change doesn't start out there with big actions, but in here, with inner calm. And this last line, it's just brilliant. It's his exit. He started the count for us. He walked us through the entire idea, and now he just steps away. He says, I will go. He is putting all the responsibility right into our hands. The choice to be quiet is now yours and mine. And so we end right back where we started, with a question. But this time, it's not for the whole world. It's just for you. Before you click on the next thing, before you check your phone, what would happen if you just took a moment? Just 12 seconds. How do you think that one small pause, that tiny moment of quiet, might change the next hour, or maybe even the rest of your day?